If you've never been hungry, then it's hard to speak to starving. If you've never not been able to pay a bill, it's hard to speak to the fact that you want to pay the bill, you want to be on time, but you just don't have the means. And so we judge people by where they are. And so if they come in and they've overshopped at the grocery store, we don't see that as sometimes it's the one piece in your life that you can control. And so we drink Pepsis or eat chocolate or those type things, or we can't buy the fresh fruit because that's not in our income. So we're only as strong as our weakest link. And these are people, I tell people all the time, I am providing a service, a ministry, a mission for people who are going to take care of me, because in 18 years, these 2-year-olds will be 20 years old. And I'll be 20 years older. So I'm going to need patient people who believe in me, helping me in my grocery store, my doctor's office. If I end up in a nursing home facility, I want to put good stock into who's going to be there for me. And that starts now. And so I can't judge people for where they are, but we got to remember we're only as strong as a nation, as a city, as a state, as a community, as our weakest link. And our weakest link doesn't mean that they're not strong in other areas.
Each child would have an opportunity to display their skills and get feedback on their skills in that lesson. Maybe it's early literacy and vocabulary, or it might be math and something like counting or computation. So that would be the rhythm of activity that you'd see over the course of the day. Periods of a little more structure, periods of a little less structure, lots of activity, lots of positive emotions being expressed. And the other thing you would see would be when children, and these are 4-year-olds, so 4-year-olds don't pay attention all the time. Sometimes they get into tussles with one another, but you would see that the teacher was monitoring the kids' activity in such a way so that as children may get a little less attentive or may get into some tussle with a kid who's sitting next to them, that teacher would move in very quickly, provide support to the children in those contexts, and that what could have been a cycle of misbehavior would turn into a cycle of engagement for those children and successful involvement with the lesson. My way of thinking, that's a high quality educational experience for young children.
We can achieve universal pre-K by making it a priority. Communities, both North and South, East and West, they make priorities in what they fund, whether they're funding roads, bridges, sewers. They make it a priority for the infrastructure. I believe that we need to make children pre-K education, consider it an infrastructure for the future of our community.
Why do you think it's not something that we offer today?
I think that it's not offered on a universal basis now in our community, not only here in Charlottesville, but everywhere. It's because people want to see immediate results. When you fund in pre-K education, you may not see those results completely for another 20, 30 years down the road. And people, when you're going in front of the school board or in front of the city council and in front of funders, they want immediate results. And pre-K education just doesn't work that way. We have to give them a firm foundation so that they can be ready to learn, they can be ready to engage in life, and that's what pre-K, universal pre-K education will do.
Tendría que buscar acudir a escuelas públicas para poderles dar la educación, pero en mis posibilidades económicas no estaría para podérselas dar. Así que mis hijos no podrían ir antes de una escuela pública. No acudirían a la escuela. CAP está más avanzado en la educación de los niños, tal vez sea igual, pero CAP te ayuda mucho tanto como a los niños como a los padres, porque los padres también reciben mucha ayuda de CAP. Y en las escuelas privadas simplemente se enfocan en que los niños tengan el conocimiento, el aprendizaje de lo que ellos necesitan, pero no importa si los papás aprenden algo de la escuela o de los niños, simplemente se enfocan en los niños. Y CAP me gusta porque es familiar, no nada más en los niños.
So one of the things that we decided many years ago is to really try to bring people together who shared a vision around the kinds of importance that we all attach to supporting and nurturing children's development, and saying that we as a delivery system were going to need to own that we had to operate as a system to be able to make sure that the results for kids were good. And Professor Neil Halfin at UCLA likes to remind me that all systems are perfectly designed for the outcomes that they're producing. So if you want to change the outcomes, you've got to change the system. And so we really adopted that mindset from the outset that we as a single organization or as a single program would be limited in our overall effectiveness if all we were thinking about was our own organization and our own program. And by contrast, as we opened ourselves up to a system thinking and imagined ourselves as one player in the life of a young child, that in order for that child to achieve his or her full potential, it was going to require that many different actors within the system align their actions so that in concert with one another, we could produce what we know young children need in order to thrive.